Welcome to All Horse Racing All the Time, where we bring you fresh new horse racing information every single day. I'm Alan, your host. And on today's edition of Horse Racing Today, we're going to be covering a race, the Gulfstream Park Turf Sprint Stakes. Now, that's a race for Pegasus Cup Day this coming Saturday, the fifth race. Going to give you selections on that, take a look at some of the horses, and who I come up with to use in the exotics or for the win spot. And allow me to preface that by saying how this video came about. On an early edition of Horse Racing Today, I was asked in the comments by a viewer where I was giving out winners. He was asking about how do I come up with these winners? He sees it. I give selections every single day for multiple tracks. He said, he wants to know how I'm coming up with these on a horse-by-horse basis. And I pointed in the direction of the numerous handicapping videos I have here on this channel on the Horse Racing All the Time homepage, right? A ton of examples. So you want to take a look at those. So I went a step further, and from that video, another viewer presented me with a question, or not a question, an observation, and that's where this comes from and why I'm covering this race today. So let me tell you what the viewer said. And remember, in the comments area, sometimes the comments lead to new videos. So don't hesitate to comment in the comment area down below. Okay, so let me bring this up. Here's the question. This is from the comment from Tickled the Twine. He weighed in on a video. And he says, now he presents the person that, stemmed the first video where he wanted to know about every single horse. How'd I come up with them? So this Tickled the Twine says, I think the person was asking you to handicap a race and show you how you got to your selections. Having bet for a long time, I realize that every race is different. Yes, but I think people are looking for a blueprint of sorts. Fair. Many videos say, they start with the speed of the race or the favorites or try to figure out the running style of each horse. Obviously, all of these things are important. Some bettors don't print forms with odds as to not sway their opinions. Excellent points. A couple across the board there. You don't want to go by the opening odds. Opening odds are not who the line maker believes is going to win a race. It's what they think the public are going to make the odds to be. So whether you catch a glimpse of those odds or not, keep that in mind. Treat each horse with a fresh slate. But yeah, a lot of these videos, they give you the obvious. There is no black and white answers, but I think it would be a great video to watch you handicap a race. And that's what we're going to do today. I think there aren't a lot of videos that do this because handicappers don't want to give up their perceived edge, and I don't blame them. Absolutely Tickled the Twine. A lot of these players that have the edge and they're really sharp and they win consistently, they charge for their service. They're racing consultants. And I've done the same thing with Coach Allen's racing report, which I've been producing for a number of years prior to starting this channel. People got a tremendous report, winners. I told them everything about the horses, my contenders, and why, and even how to use them. So yeah, so people, the real good ones, it's like any other service, they're not just going to give it away. But here in this video, we are going to do just that for this particular race. I'm going to be covering a race here. Now, the race I'm going to be covering, and I want to say thank you very much for that weighing in there with some excellent observations. And we're going to be doing that right here, right now. What I'm going to be doing is covering this Gulfstream Park Turf Sprint race on Pegasus Cup Day. It is race 5. And I'm going to do this from scratch. I have not looked at the PPs. So I'm going to give it fair, doing it here on camera, fresh. This is not rehearsed. I have not looked at the PPs. So I'm going to just go through this handicapping process from square one. What do I do? What do I do? How do I do this? How do I come up with these winners? Now, keep this video in mind when you see my selections every day. For the tracks that I cover. I have tracks that I've already worked on for today, for later today. Gulfstream, Park, Aqueduct, Turfway Park looks like it's running tonight, some other tracks. So we'll be keeping an eye on those. The ones I'm going to land on and put out there, stay tuned. But as this race go, what do? I'm going to sit down, handicapping from scratch. How do I come up with these individual horses? What am I looking at? You're going to see it right here. Keep it in mind. First things first, we start off in a relaxed setting like I am now. I don't have the TV on. I don't have a radio on. I'm not around people doing it. I want the setting to be relaxed. I want to be as focused as possible. And another thing, I don't rush. Don't rush. I want to be relaxed. I have my coffee here. And today, actually, I'm having a coffee for the very first time, and I'm doing it for this show. I just got it. It's Kicking Horse Coffee, Kick Ass. I've never tried it. I'm going to have my very first sip right here. I like to be relaxed. So it starts with a good cup of coffee. So as the cup says, make it happen. Let's make it happen here. So I landed on this race. I figured it would be a good opportunity. Know nothing about it. I'll be using the tools I usually use when I do my handicapping and selections. And let's go from here. So let's get it started. How did I come up with this race? It's the 5th race. It's a stakes race on Pegasus World Cup Day. So it presents a good opportunity, and I'll tell you why. Okay, let me bring that race up. Just here for starters. We look at it right here. Where are we? Okay, here we go. Okay, Gulfstream Park Turf Sprint, race 5 on Saturday. Okay, it's Saturday the 25th. Today's the 23rd, so you can go back to this video again. Okay, it's a stakes race for 165K purse, 5 furlongs, beautiful, makes for a challenging race, good race to cover here. For 4-year-olds and up, we have horses that have experience and a track record. Now, what I'll do here, I'll look at this before I go to the PPs. The odds don't sway me. I'll catch a peek at the jockeys and trainers that are in this race when I do this. But the odds, I don't care about the odds that they give. I'm going to go and address that on the PPs. Okay, so we'll go down here. What do we got? So we got 5 furlong race. How many entries? How many race entries are going to be looking at here? Sometimes I like to save the races on a card with like huge fields for the later ones and knock out the other races that have shorter fields. This way I get the bulk of the card done in advance. This one is a fairly large field. They have 12 entries here, and they also have a few AEs or alternate entries. Maybe it rains, I don't know, or maybe the field is full, as happens here. So here we see on big days. Here we see we have 12 entries, main entries to work from. And we have 3 alternate entries. And what I do see on the odds here, I'm not going to let the odds sway me, but I see their long shots of 15-1, opening long shot 15-1, 50-1, 30-1. Now, they do have some interesting jockeys on them, or trainers, as Safi Joseph Jr. say on the 15-1. But anyway, so we'll take a look at those and the AEs. Now, what is the next step? Okay, so we have that out of the way here. So we're going to go on to the next step of the handicapping. So now the next step, now I'm going to go to the data, look at the data. And I'm going to be using a couple of the forms of data that I used, my primary sources. So I'm not going to shoot all over the place or other sources here, but for this video, I'll be using the 2 that my primary sources. And that is Brisnet PPs, and you also have Thorograph PPs. So I'll be alluding to those, going to those here during this race, during the course of the race. What I like to start off with are the Brisnet PPs. Don't just jump into Thorograph, which really gets juicy, where they have speed figures, superior speed figures that have numbers that do reveal concealed speed horses, taking into factors wind, ground loss, trips, etc., that the traditional speed figures don't have both. So we start with the original, with the basic, very solid PPs, Brisnet PPs, and I'll give you a link to the Brisnet PPs where you can get Brisnet PPs down below. And so you want to check the description area for those, and it has them for all tracks across the United States. So we're going to start off with the Brisnet. Talks about the race. We already know that there's 12 entries and 3 AEs. So we'll bring that up here. Okay, a little bit about the race. Okay, 4-year-olds and up, 5 furlongs. Let me make it a little bigger for you to see here. Okay, 5 furlongs. What I'm going to do now here in this step of the handicapping process is go down, take a glance, take some notes on some of the entries before I go back and look at them a little closer. Okay, so we'll take a look at those. We'll go down here and see what jumps out. First thing, what am I looking for here? What jumps out? I look for some numbers. I don't see these speed figures for all of them up front, so I'll treat every horse. What I'll do is see, maybe I will glance and see what we got here. So the first horse, okay, he's running in the 90s. What I notice here, what I'm noticing, you got a good trainer, D'Angelo, and of course a top jock who's 24% here at the meet, Irad Ortiz. Now this one, no history on the track. Has won 3 at the distance. He's been in the money 8 out of 13, 3 wins, 4 in a second. Seems what's jumping off here is his running pattern, his form cycle. He seems to be alternating good race, bad race recently, 91, 83, 93, 96, okay. And he seems to really specialize at this distance. What I do notice is he is a closer, S1, so I'm keeping those 90s in mind. I'm not going nuts with a horse early on. First time through. So he's running in the 90s. What about this second one? Second one, yes, I am free. It's a long shot. What troubles me about this one, usually likes to go to the front. And last race, he was way in the back, comes up with a bad figure, came in 10th, was beaten by a couple, this shows on the right if they faced other horses in this race. Now, you can excuse that last race because he did he started with his head turned, bumped. I am making a note of number 1. That's one I'm going to give special attention to with the Ortiz and D'Angelo. Does have some nice races in there. Has run well. Has 9 wins. He's a 9-year-old. So I'm looking at that. Has a decent jock. Jaramillo is aboard. 11% trainer. What I see here is that this one usually likes to run early fast. So I consider this, and he had very good early speed, running in the 90s, 100 early pace. If you look at this, at this distance, last time he ran at Gulfstream was almost a year and change ago. He did come in second there in an optional claiming race. He did come in third, 2 back. The last one in November, came in third, was leading all the way. Okay, so this one has some speed, so I'll remember that one. Not as much that I want to take a note, but now I see with the third one, a 9-2 shot, Doug O'Neill. This one is running around. Another one with big early speed, and he will be the type that will challenge these similar early pace scenarios. Now, this one is running 6.5s. Is the turn back going to help this one? Mucho del Oro, Doug O'Neill, always dangerous. No record to show at this meet so far. And same for the jock, Frezu and Doug O'Neill. This horse hasn't raced here. He's never raced at the distance. How is he going to take being rushed early? Very strong speed figures, 96, 87, 94. What happened in the 87? Cautious into stretch. Has run in G3. It won a G3 race last time, so this represents almost a class drop. Has not run in a race in 8 months, but this is one to keep an eye on. Will this horse be even faster early, turning back? Actually did win a pair of G3s, and where he had trouble the 1-2 back. This one's a definite contender. We already know this one can motor with the 2, and maybe the turn back even helps, even has a second. So definitely 3 is going to get extra attention there at 9-2. How about Axum, the 20-1 shot? Has 1-2 here. How is he lately? Got whipped in a G3, saving ground, closing type, 20-1. No. I could see this one. Maybe if push comes to shove, maybe on race day I'll come back to him. But this is not one. Excellent trainer, sure. The only way I can see this one being the last race here was he got whipped by some of the other contenders. Well, lost by 4, but was beaten by other contenders. I don't like the speed. This is how I handicap, okay? First time through. That's right. We got another speed horse, another one with big early speed. This is turning out to be one hell of a race already. I'm only through 5 of them. Now, this is not a rush contest. You want to win? I'm going fairly quickly here. This is how I go through it. And then I come back to other factors later on. Remember, we still have the third graph to come to. And we're going to see some pace stuff here and see who is the pace, who really has the pace out of these speeds. Is there one that's going to get away? Now, this one has some speed too. Numbers are a little bit lighter. Not overwhelmed. I like the Johnny V factor up, a Hall of Fame. And then we got the Brad Cox. Always dangerous. He's winning 18% of the meet, but 26% overall. This one is adding blinkers today, and when Cox adds blinkers, he's 26%. In nod-graded stakes, he's 27% and 30% second start when they enter his barn. What I do notice is this entry has run 3 times, number 5. At Gulfstream, he hasn't won. 90 is his best effort. And that was on 21st. But now this one is working bullets. Did work a bullet. The previous horse has worked a bullet too, so keep that in mind. You remember the works. We're going to come back to this. 5, I'll just put 5 with a question mark just because of the intangibles entering the barn and the workout. Used to previously trained by Brittany Russell, who's always a very strong trainer. Is an early speed type, and I think we're going to have a stampede at these here out of the gate. So, yeah, I've got a question mark next to the 5. We'll go down to number 6. 10-1, Wesley Ward. Good trainers here. This one's 1 for 1 at the track. In the money, 6 out of 11 at the distance. When did he run here? Just over a year and a month ago. Did win here in an optional claiming race at today's distance, where he kind of stalked the pace, running. We're going back to the 94 here on December 1st of 23. Kind of stalked the pace. Got the second entering the stretch and ended up winning by a length and a half with Paco Lopez up. Paco Lopez, suspension lifted. I don't see him on any of the races on the card for Saturday here. Pegasus Cup Day. Okay, so he has run well here. 10-1. I'm not. I'll just put 6 and I'll put a C next to it because if the pace seems too hot, has a good Jacob Junior Alvarado 15% here. If the pace is too hot, this one might figure in. And he did come off a race at Keeneland last October. He's been off a while, but got the Wesley Ward factor going. 26% of this meet. An allowance race. Now he's moving up. He has run in a G2. He ran in a G3, ran a 95 at Del Mar, where he finished only 3/4 of a length back. Did run in a G2 race where he got stuck with traffic, really had a bad trip, 2 back at Keeneland. Finished 10th, but only 4 3/4. So this one has class. So I'll put closing and class as another one to come back to. And you see opening 10-1. I'm seeing the odds. I'm not letting the odds sway me, though, just here. Talking about it, this one, just too slow, overmatched in class. Panther Island, good horse for the course, though. Gets Reyes up, 11% trainer, Cazares. Has been at Gulfstream, 7 tries, first, second, 5 out of 7, opening 8-1. Oh, God. Compared to the others I've seen, I see this one should be higher than 8-1. That's a very generous spot. This one does. It's 75 that it ran 3 back. It was checked inside, so we can throw that one out. Otherwise, this one's running in the high upper 80s to 90s. Underneath, but I'm not really crazy about it. This is one I'd really have to stretch it. I see it as higher than 8-1. The 8, Another speed horse right off the bat. I could see did wire the field. Class is too low. Opens 30-1. Gets Jose Ortiz for Joseph Orsino. 12% here. Jose 20%. The Ortiz brother always around. 7 races here. 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds. Last time he raced here at this distance was last year in May in an optional claim 25 race where he did wire the field, won by 2 lengths with Edgar Zayas up. And Jose Ortiz has ridden this one twice at Gulfstream. He did run it on synthetic at Gulfstream, winning there. And on turf, he did run a 95 back in January of last year. This might be one to consider for your exotics. Because if you look at his running line, he's always around the wire. 14 career races. He's been in the money 10 times, been in the money 6 out of 7. So I'm going to say 8 underneath. I'll make a note of that. And Jose, and he did pop off extremely quick opening fractions in that January race of 104. And you can see he has the speed of Keeneland too. He really comes out of the gate early. And that's no doubt what Jose's going to do here. We've seen him do this before in the past and on long shots. Ride the horse to the best of his abilities, but I got it there. So far I got 5 of the 8 noted. And number 9, everyone's going to look at this. Nobles open 7-2 for Larry Ravelli, who is red hot right now. Ravelli, the Ravelli factor, as you can see for the 2024 to 25 to current right now, he's won 32% of his races over the last year. And shipping, he's 29%. Gets Baird aboard. Hasn't rode here. Nothing to show at this meet. Comes off the 100. Keep in mind that 100 was at Woodbine on synthetic. 7-2. Throw that 100 out on a different surface. I don't see his turf races as anything significant here compared to the others. Number 1, he's opening 7-2. Nobles has not run on the track. I see a 93, 99 mixed in. Yeah, we see he's more of a pressing type. He has speed to hang around. He's been running in G2 companies. A G2 company. What happened? The Woodford. Santa Anita, he ran a 99 and a G1. He won a G1. He's got to be respected, but we're going to be looking closer at that. 9, I'll just put respect. Ravelli. Although I can remember it, I got a snapshot memory with this stuff. He has some nice numbers in there. And with the speed that's going on, maybe this sets up for this horse that has speed that he can be up there early if he needs to be. He's not going to go to the front most of the time, but he will be around. Now, the last 3 times Baird has rode this one, you're talking a 100 speed figure last race where he really ran quick fractions in November at Woodbine early, stalking the pace. You could see the 104, 108, 98, 103. And so he won there with Baird in a G2. And the 2 previous times with Baird, he ran in the Troy Stakes at Saratoga. Oh, you're going back a ways, 2023. But Baird did ride him, came in second there, 3/4 of a length back. And at Indianapolis with Baird, he did win the William Garrett Stakes, minor stakes. Did win that. He did win the turf sprint back May in 23 with Corrales. But with Baird, he has 2 wins in the second. So this is the respect factor and trainer factor. 30, running all 80s most of the time. Did run a 94 at Monmouth once. 10, 30-1. Another part of the speed, not even as fast as the others early. I don't like this. I'm not going to really make any further notes at this time on that one. Number 11, Reef Runner. Okay. 12 to 1, Miguel Vasquez up. David Fawkes, 20% at the meet. Very impressive for Fawkes. 51 wins here out of 261 races. This one has been in the money all 5 times that it's raced at Gulfstream. Okay. So always around the wire. Jeez. Was beaten by Coppola at Gulfstream here in the Janus Stakes. More of a pressing type. It's a nice horse. I'm not overwhelmed with it. Last 2 races here, 90, 94, 93. Third, two and 3/4 back. Second by a nose with a very nice effort. This is another one to keep in mind with the speed. So I'll pay extra attention to 11 because always seems to get on there, always seems to be close. On his best, he's good enough to possibly win if the others don't fire their best. I'll put a question mark next to 11. And then we'll go down to the 12 workout, 4 of 26. Very quick workout on January 18th. I'll put the W there for the work as well. 46-3, January 18th. And I love this at the distance, in the money 5 out of 6. In the money all the time at Gulfstream, 5 races, 2 wins, 2 seconds. Opens 12 to 1. Hey, we'll see what the odds are at post time. And we'll go down to the final. Number 12 opens 4 to 1. Right off the bat, I don't like this. I don't like that it's breaking from post. 12 does have a lot of early speed, but he has a lot of speed inside of him. Has 1-3 Coppola. And yeah, the Coppola did beat the 11 last race by 2 lengths. So keep that in mind. But this one, Coppola depends on speed. Is that going to hurt him being extremely outside? Has Tyler Gaffleone up 15% here for Romans. Romans kind of having a tough meet, 9% out of 66. But did break from post 11 last race here in the Janus Stakes. And he still found a way to wire the field. I just see others as being a little faster early at this distance. So the post was able to overcome the post that day, but there are some others that have, I don't think he's going to be able to grab the lead today. So, and that's a race where he, I guess, got the perfect setup where he was able to overcome the post here. And if you throw that 96 out, which was his biggest race in a long, long time, you'd have to go back to a race on a sealed track last July where he ran a 95. Or 94 at Saratoga at 5.5. He's 3 for 6 at the distance. He did run that. He did run 100 at one time at Gulfstream, but you're talking ancient history now because he's a 6-year-old. I don't see any hundreds here on this. I see a bunch of 80s. I see this one as a toss at 4 to 1. I see the connections there, but the Dale Romans I'm not thrilled with. And he's a bounce candidate. That 96 came out of left field. A lot of times when you see a horse jump up so huge out of nowhere, and especially the case with this one, breaking outside with speed inside of him, this is a toss. I can't use this horse. Look at the AEs. The 13, too slow by the numbers. I could see I don't like it. He might not even get in. 14, even worse. Drayden Van Dyke. Now, 13 does have Saffie Joseph Jr., who's still, this 2 horses too slow. Way outside. 14, awful. 15, 30 to 1. Does have excellent turf breeding. Geez. Way outside 30 to 1, 10% trainer. 90s are a couple of his best efforts in the United States. Nah, I don't like that. So what is the next step now? What do we look now at this stakes? Now, this video is running long, but you want to see what I'm looking at when I handicap a race. So you want to come back to this. So hang in there if you can. It's for your own benefit. So what we're going to do now is take a look at a closer look at the pace scenario and a closer look bringing the Thorograph figures into play, the superior speed figure PPs that I use for handicapping these races. And I think you're going to enjoy this. Okay, let's bring up a chart. As they say, pace makes the race. So let's take a look what Thorograph says about this pace scenario. Okay. Race 5, Gulfstream Park. Okay. Now, this is a pace chart here. So part of the information that Thorograph provides here. And you could see by the bars going across to the right, those are the fastest ones early. As you could see, if that 15 AE gets in, does have the quickest opening pace. Now, these charts take into effect something that is not that you do not get on your traditional PPs, where they time everybody to the first call based on what their running time is when they get to the first call to come up with how fast they're going. You'll see the first call time, like in the Brisnet, 22.5 or whatever. 22.5 might not be the actual first call, because what happens is there is a run-up to a laser beam. A laser beam that kind of trips the clock where they start timing the first call. And horses run up to this laser beam. It could be 10, 50, sometimes 100 yards in front of the starting gate. So that doesn't take into effect when the clock is tripped. Now, the Thorograph uses numbers that takes that into effect and gives you a true time for the opening call. Now, as you can see here, this 15, who's not going to be in the race, but this one is going fast as hell for the true first call, actually averaging a sub first call of sub 21 opening quarter. You're not going to see that on your Brisnet or your Bayer figures. Let's look at the others, especially the ones who stands out. Okay, so let's look at this and the ones that I've been talking about. Now, the one with Johnny with Irad Ortiz up, he may get stuck working out a trip here, because you could see he doesn't even have a bar going across. And you could see by the times here of the first calls that they're running, most of them, the true first calls, 21 and change. So this one, is he going to get buried on the rail? Is he going to get stuck running very wide? Something to keep in mind with the one. Now, the two already we know have some speed. Jaramillo, you can see he likes to run the first call. When you look below the bar graph, you could see the times of the first call for his back races, going back and who the jockey was. So keep this in mind. This is the stuff we go through when we make our selections every day. And in three, we talked about this one. This one likes to be out front all the time. And a snapshot, I'm scanning across, and there's not many in here that two does like to go to the front. And he's going to be part of it. And 3 likes to be up there. So we expect a pace stool up front inside for sure. Now, let's talk about the one Coppola breaking from post 12. Coppola breaking from post 12. We talked about him. This one is the 7-2 with Tyler Gaffalione. Now, he did run a very fast first call last time. They show him here as opening at averaging 21.13, but did in this instance run a 20.95 outside, probably because he was from post 11 that day. So he's going to have to run that again. Is that going to be fast enough? That probably will be fast enough to get him in the mix early. He'll be outside. Will he be fast enough to cut just across and get inside to the rail? I still don't believe likely, but we got to look at his Thorograph speed figures as well as just the pace. So we could see we got a bunch of pace here. 2 likes to go to the front all the time. We talked about, yes, I am free, that he had the trouble last time out of the gate, so we excuse him, and he still went quick. But otherwise, went to grab the first call, 5 out of the last 6. Number 3 always grabs the first call. Very similar here as far as the pace. 5, I had a question mark next to. He's part of the pace. That's right. Another one with Johnny V, always running first or second. This is another one that ran a sub 20.99. He's very quick early. We got a bunch of them here. 8 Portfolio, 8. Now that's the long shot with Jose Ortiz. This one sometimes gets the front, sometimes stalks. He's going to be part of it. Now that one opens at a big price. Number 10, that's a toss entry. 10, I see this one. He likes to go to the front and be part of the mix. Smithwick Spice. But this one, by the numbers, I recall, did not look quick enough. He's just going to be enough to add enough. He's going to be there to add chaos to this race. And, of course, we got Coppola. Okay? So now what we're going to talk about, you asked for it, handicapping a race from the start. Now we're going to take a look at the speed figures overall. We'll go down, shift down to the 5th race. And now is where these numbers, it gets fun. Now we could see, we've looked at the Brisnet here for this video, and we looked at that first. They give you, Thorograph gives you a snapshot chart of every single horse in the race. Now we're going to go here. We'll start with the 1. We'll get an idea. Now here's where I'll scroll around a bit quickly first and then come back. See who really stands out here. Now this one is running lower the number, the faster the race. The dash before the horse stands for a turf race. No dash is a dirt race. As you can see, this race, as a 6-year-old, they give you the races by year in graph fashion, where the earlier in the year starts at the bottom, working their way up. And now this is with the trainer change going to D'Angelo's barn. Now this one here, no races here. This is a West Coast horse, and they're asking a lot from Irad Ortiz, who we saw doesn't really have a pace that fits this race, so he might get stuck running wide. How's he going to take to this? How does he compare to the others? We go to the 2, who I didn't really like. Now, the 2, you could see, slower the number, the slower the race. This one is running 9, 7s, 8, 8 compared to the lower numbers of the 1. 6s, 6 as low as a 4, running 4s, 5, 6, 6. Earlier in the year, clearly faster than the 2. And this where he seems to be he's going second off the layoff basically here. And he seems to be, he moved forward his last race, so he might be ready to move forward again as his pattern is showing. So something to keep in mind, but I don't like the pace. Now, this one here, 3, Mucho del Oro. This one looks superior to the one as you could see, he's running 3s, 7, 3, 3s. Yeah, that seems to be his ballpark. Now, he did have a big layoff. As you can see, he has not run since his race last May. You see June, July through December, no races to show for himself. Now he comes back. Now, is the layoff a problem for Doug O'Neill? Now, this one, again, is part of the pace. Not really, because if you look here, similar situation, ran his last race in 2023 in June, and then didn't come back again until January of last year. That similar layoff that we've once seen, the horse comes back in January and comes in second by a nose in a stakes that race. And he continued with his usual form with the 3s, the very low numbers. So 3 right now really steps up here. We know it has speed. Know he has dealt with duels before. Doug O'Neill, and the jockey hasn't any record to show here at this track. We got to think about the shipping a little bit, take that into effect. But by the numbers, this one is the standout so far. And now we go to another one here. Axelum, number 4. 6s, 9s. Doesn't seem to be in quite great form at this point. Last race, as it says here in the notes, failed to menace. Not really a standout. Did run very quick, a couple of a race in late February. He showed his best stuff with a 4. Is he going to come back to that? He did run very well with a 3 and a 4 over at Kentucky Downs. 7th. I'm not overly thrilled by the form of this one at first glance. So I'm giving you these selections here. what I'm seeing here. Now, this could change, as we get closer to race day. This is a first look, remember, what I'm looking at. Now, this one, very consistent entry, usually running 6s and 5s. That's right. The Brad Cox entry, a little bit of a question mark there. Yeah, this doesn't win. He's consistent. Once in a while, he hits the board. Last victory took place in April at Laurel at 5.5. I want to go back. I want to look at the pace of this race again for a second. I want to see how he fits the pace. That's right. That's the one with Johnny V. That's right. He'll be part of the pace for sure. I think he's going to get overmatched by the one that's inside of him. He'll be part of the pace. By the numbers, I'm not thrilled as seeing the numbers here from a thoroughgraph standpoint. And the fact that he's not really winning. Go back. Race 5. A lot of data here they give you. You want to win, you put it, it's not a rush job. Select your races. And, there are no scratches. We don't know the scratches yet to this race either. So who knows what kind of adjustments need to be made from here. This is the first look. All right. What I really want here, so I do this with each horse, and a nice horse. He's not as fast as the 3. I don't see him as a win candidate. No. He's running 6s and 5s, and 3 is running 3s. Number 6, now this is a Wesley Ward entry. Now this one is running 3s at Keeneland, Delmar, lightly raced. He's the one that ran in that G2. I just want to see something, how he is in the Brisnet compared. Now, I'm not going to bring the Brisnet up. I'm looking at it here. I'll keep the thoroughgraph here. I don't want to, make this look too hectic here. This one has some concealed numbers here that are very quick. He has some 94s. He has one here. And we do have a lot of speed in this race. And he's certainly fast enough to win by the numbers, by the superior thoroughgraph numbers. Now, I just want to see how slow this one is early compared to the others. This opens 10-1. So if you get big prices on this one, he's going to be fast enough to be part of this. And then maybe he'll be able to pounce at the end. So he has a very big middle move. Doesn't win often, but he's fast enough, so I'm definitely going to box him. I prefer him underneath, but definitely a contender here. Win contender. And the win contender this time, win contender based on thoroughgraph, really. By the speed figures he's putting up and the pace of the race. Okay, so now we'll move down a little bit. We'll try and speed this up. I'd usually go slower, but I'll try and speed it up to get through this. You're already getting a good frame of reference who I go with, and then I'm going to tell you who I'm going to land on here. Number 7, Panther Island. By the numbers, too slow. I'm not crazy there. Number 8, this is Irad Ortiz, Jose Ortiz. This one has the pace. He has not, I'm looking back, he has run at Gulfstream Park, and his numbers are a little too slow. They were in the 6 range, early 6, 7 range earlier in the year. He seems to have peaked in his last race, an optional claiming race on Tapeta, and he had a nice turf race at Churchill, where he ran a 5, which really was, he's paired up a couple of 5s here, 5 on turf, 5 on Tapeta, but I think he's going to be a part of a pace setup here. I don't see him being fast enough to overcome the other speed of inside of him. Can he finish 3rd? Maybe you want to use him underneath in your tries and supers at a price, and he might even be overbet from his opening odds based on the jock. And again, his opening odds here are 30-1. So he might be somebody that boosts your trifectas. Exactas, I don't see him in the exacta, but boosts your tries and supers, number 8. Now we're going down to 9, the Ravelli factor. Oh, boy. Now he's running last race at Woodbine at 2. Now he has that jockey Baird up. This one is definitely a win contender. He's running a 2, 4, 3, 3. If you look to it as a 4-year-old going back, he's running 2s, 3s, 2s. Geez, and now if this sets up for him, and you got Ravelli, who is very hot, 32% here. Baird and Ravelli together. Now, this is something else Thoroughgraph provides. With Baird, they tell you the jockey and trainer, even their ROI, 32% winning percentage, the two of them together, and that covers 617 races. We have 1.94 ROI in the money, 61%. So this one by the numbers, the actual speed figures, jockey, trainer, just want to look at the pace, make sure this one fits as far as the pace goes, because otherwise this one may be the one to beat with all the other speeds. Yeah, he'll be laying off the pace, but he's plenty quick enough to be around 20.93 at 5.5 furlong stakes, and then Pounce. Yeah, this one is going to be a factor here. And he has been in the money 6 out of 7 times at Gulfstream Park. 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. He does well here. No, wait a second. That's Nobles. Has not raced at Gulfstream. I was looking at the previous one. 5 for 10 at the distance. Has been running G2s. He did run, last time he ran a 5 furlong race at Santa Anita, ran a 99 Brisnet, and he won a G1 by the oh geez, Indy, CD, yeah. Won a G2 in May of this. Yeah, the 9 so far does look like, by the numbers, by the connections, by the pace of the race, running style, this really fits this race. Okay, let's go back and get to number 10. We won't be too long now. Todd Pletcher and Frankie Dettori up. They rode 0 for 10 together. This one's running 6s and 7s, too slow. I love the connections, the breeding. I don't like the horse. This one, the same. Wait a second. Got to go back to the 5th race. I was going to say, holy crap, why is that horse even entered? Number 10. He has some nice races sprinkled in. Okay, Nobles, yeah. 10 has some nice races sprinkled in with a couple of 3s at Monmouth. This one seems to like Monmouth, running 6 and 7 at Gulf. Smith Swicks, Douglas Nunn. Has a couple of nice races at Monmouth that fit. Is he going to come back and throw one of those today? If he does, a possible winner. Unlikely. He's part of the early running types, and he's going to be overshadowed completely. So 10 is out. See, I'm taking the pace into the race, everything. Has a couple of nice races, but number 11. 11 is running very well now. This one seems to have come into his own as a 3-year-old reef runner. As if you look at his numbers and as his races as a 2-year-old, he was running 19, 14, 11. Then you go to his 3-year-old campaign, 11, 8, 12. Now remember, the lower the number, the faster the race. 6, 6, 6, 5, 4. Marching forward steadily. Gets Miguel Vasquez up. The 4 puts him kind of in the mix here because remember, the top ones, the ones that had a couple of 2s was the one with Ravelli, the 9, and the inside horse, the 3. Reef runner. This horse has done nothing wrong, just keeps getting better. And now he's coming into this. I want to take a look at his, now it opens 12-1. And this is a closer. This one's always there. I could see this one coming up and maybe stealing it. Because already, all right, he's more of a pressing type runner. But what I like about this one here, I'm looking at Brisnet right now, is this one, I mean, even when he loses, I mean, he came in 3rd last race here, but he was only 2 3/4 of a length back, and he got slammed the gate and went on the left lead, had trouble, and he came from the stretch. Now, this is a 5 furlongs, entered the stretch 5.5 back and only finished 2 3/4 back, despite all this problems. And the outside post won't be as bad because he's not going to get stuck on the rail by other speeds. He'll be able to be out there, and he's quick enough that he can kind of stalk, and it doesn't have to go fight his way out from the inside. He's already outside, so now he can kind of work his way in. So I don't think the position hurts this one, and I think this one's even a win contender by the numbers and the improvement. Ran a 4 last time. What if he keeps moving forward and jumps up to a 3? And this is a sharp trainer here in David Falks, 20% at this meet. And Vasquez, 13% at this meet. Vasquez has ridden this one the last 3 races. Came in third by only 2 3/4, despite a ton of trouble last time. 2 back at Gulfstream. He came in 2nd by a nose. And even then he was bumped at the start at this distance, Vasquez. And again, Vasquez, before that, he won in a minor stakes race like this one by 2 lengths going away within 93 here. So the jockey trainer and the 2 with Vasquez before that also here came in first by 2.5 with a 92. He's been on the board every single time at Gulfstream Park. 5 races, 2 wins, 2 seconds, a third, 94 high Brisnet. But as you see, the Thorograph numbers, very strong right there with the best of them. Definitely win contender. Okay. So we got it up there with the 11. Now, what about the 12? What about the 12 Coppola? Now, I said this one was a toss, right? Based on, the bounce factor, breaking way outside. But let's look. Is he a toss? I'll tell you what. This is one hell of a race. Now, this is one you toss at your own peril. I don't like the outside post. But by the Thorograph numbers, he's a 3 machine. He's throwing pitching 3s constantly. 3. Very strong. And you got Dale Romans, who's cold right now. Does have Tyler Gaffalione, who's 15% going back 486 races at Gulfstream, riding as well as anyone right now. What I don't like about this one, Coppola, I still don't like the 12 post. I love the speed figures. Now, remember, he's going to get caught wide, so he's going to have to cover more ground, which seems to be the case with him usually, covering more ground. Third graph takes into account ground loss, but that's ground loss. It affects the figure when you're running wide, and this one's definitely going to have to run wide today. What I also don't like about it, I'm going to try and beat this one. Last time, it doesn't win that often. One last race at a minor stakes at Gulf where he had everything go his way, but before that, a third, 2 and something back, a fourth, 2 and something back. Now, these are races where he did run good, very solid speed figures, threes, but a lot of those numbers, he's caught wide in that race. It takes into account, and he's going to get caught wide again. Fourth, 2 back. He doesn't win often. Go back again, third. He does have a first at Indy. Now, we'll throw that one out, really, because it was on a sloppy sealed track, so that doesn't really indicate today what he does. Keep him in mind if he runs on a race that goes off the turf. If this race goes off the turf, definitely very dangerous. And we look at that 3 that he ran at Indy here in July of last year, if you can see my cursor. But prior to that, a fourth. I'm going to try and beat this one. Can he get in the money? He might even miss the board. If you're playing tries, I see better out there than using this one that have superior early speed. So the 12. For your supers, I don't know. You got to take a stand, right? And I'll tell you who I come up with is the win contenders here and who I think is the winner of this race. Believe it or not, all considered with the pace, I see the strongest win contenders here coming out of Larry Veravelli, who really sets up well here in this race, has been running in G2 company, gets the jockey bared up. If I had to pick just one horse, would I go Ravelli? We know the third graph numbers already. We may go back to the Brisnet for a second here. Let me just see. I'm looking at him now. Has never raced at this track. So I'm not ready quite to anoint him yet. Let me go to the others that I really like. Yeah, let me go to the 12 for a second. The one I just said does have 3 of 6 at this distance. But I'm seeing, I don't like the post. 12 Coppola at 7-1. And Romans, who's struggling. 9 hasn't run here. Otherwise, if he had a history here, he might be almost a slam dunk. We'll go to the ones inside. Number 3 is the other one. Likes to go to the front all the time. Let me show you what I'm showing here. Let me show you what I'm showing you here to make it easier. Okay. Because I'm over at Brisnet now. We'll come back to the third graph. Okay, now I'm showing you what I'm looking at. Mucho d'Oro likes to go to the front. You can see his running line over there. It's another one that has no record at this track. Doug O'Neill. I'm looking at the pace figures, the 95, 93, how fast he is early, considering is he going to get the lead early? He should grab it over the 2 and the 1, certainly. 5 is the one that's going to come out like gangbusters here, and probably, if they send him, will probably go for the lead. That's the one with Johnny V. I see him as more of a spoiler in this race. He's been beaten by a couple of these, Coppola and Reef Runner. But he will be right there and definitely, throw a monkey wrench in this. 6, 1-for-1, Wesley Ward, definitely the 6. This running style, 1-for-1 at this race. Now I'm just going down, and it is fast enough to be part of this mix. Now, probably the speed of the speed who they got to send here is this 8 with Jose Ortiz, this 30-1 shot. Do I see him winning? No. But on turf, you could see here, if you're looking back, even at a mile, this one set wicked fraction so he could last. Live bomb 8. Maybe even an exacta, since we're going only 5. I'm gaining more respect for the 9 just because of the speed edge. And Jose, that's right up his alley. He likes to go to the front and steal races. And this horse at 30-1 does have the possibility to steal this. We've seen him do it before. We've seen him do it in big races. Jose. That's probably why they put him on this horse. The trainer's 12%. Okay, let me just look at some others. A9 is faced, has shown that kind of speed before, early pace before, and overcome it. Okay. Going further down. Okay, no secrets. Yeah, 12 is going to be in this speed duel. They might all knock each other off. 12, not 5, 9, and 12. You know, how many times do you see these all bounce around just with the running styles? He's running in the hundreds early all the time. Has done it on this track, is coming from post 12, but he's not going to get at some easy lead where he can dominate. And I see him pretty much just as fast as the 8 who has Jose Ortiz early, if not faster. So I see 8 and 12 duking it out on the front end and maybe sprinkling in a little 5 with his hundreds early in the Brisnet. Remember, I'll put a link to these Brisnet where you can get Brisnet PPs down below. So I see 3. The main speeds are 9, 5, 9, 5, 8, and 12. And that kind of hurts the 3 a bit. Or does it? Because he's inside, and this one always goes to the front too. We're going to have a massive speed duel here. I'm glad I picked this race because it really opens up some interesting possibilities. Let me get the Thorograph back. Okay. This really does set up for the 9 here. It sets up for the 9 and the 11. 9. I like that 11 keeps moving forward. I like that he gets he does know how to win. We see him in the winner's circle. Bunch of firsts, seconds, a third, even the third where he had trouble by a trip trouble, slammed into the gate. Even there, he managed to come from 5+ lengths back, lose by 2 lengths after the stretch in his last race. Got stuck wide. Today, I don't believe he's going to get stuck as wide, even though post 11 more of a, come from behind type. He's not going to have to work his way out from the rail. So all considered, I believe the winner comes out of number 3, number 9 or 11 here. This one got the numbers, improving numbers, the 11 down to a 4. The next step forward takes him to a 3. The Rivelli, this one's running 2s, Nobles. Another one, the pace sets up nicely for this one, and this one is fast enough to stick around and hound those leaders, the 8, the 5, 8, and 12. Now, the thing about the 8, the big speed with Ortiz is the 30-1 shot. His Thorograph numbers, he has never put up a Thorograph number fast enough to win this race. So he's going to have to depend strictly on pace. That's it. Taking it and stealing it. By the speed figures, not fast enough. But pace figures, he's fast enough to definitely get to the front and who knows what with Jose Ortiz up. Number 6, definitely a player. Let me just go back. Would I go as far as to say 6 is a win contender for me? No. Is 1 for 1 here. Ten to 1 shot, Wesley Ward, Junior Alvarado. Let me go back to his speed figures. Maybe like this one more for exactas underneath. Doesn't like to win very often. 3 wins out of 14 races. 1 for 1 here, though. When did he run here? A year and a month ago. By closing into it. Maybe the closing factor helps him. I can't pick them all. And we want to go back to the 3 for a second. I think the inside speed. What I want to do here is tell you who's been winning these types of races here, how these post positions have been playing. That's at the bottom of the Brisnet charts. Early speed's been winning 46%, whereas closer's only 14%, but this might be a different type of race. As far as the post positions go, no distinct advantage to any of the post positions. The highest winning percentage is the rail at 16%, and that's not going to happen with the closer with Irad Ortiz. It's going to get stuck in all types of traffic. Opens at 6 to 1. I think it should be much higher. Posts 1 to 3, 13%, 4 to 7, 12%, 8 and up, 10%. All considered here, 3. He's kind of been alternating, hasn't run here before. I think he's up against it. Let me see where. Definitely a win contender by the numbers. He'll probably save ground. Maybe the other ones give them problems, and this one goes to the front and maybe never looks back. So I see 3 as a win contender. I see number 9, Ravelli is another one. Just talked about all this little, back a bit and why. Not going to rehash it, repeat it. And the 11 is a bomb at a price. Now, we're not talking, I love to come up and pick long shots here and make it good here. What are they? 3, we're getting a nice, opens at 9 to 2. We might get higher. I think that's a tremendous call there on that one. And he's definitely fast enough by the numbers. Okay, so 3 is a win contender, and I'll tell you my top choice. Three got the numbers power, got the rail. He is shipping. Mucho Macho Man. Excellent sire here. Trainer. He brings him back off the layoff and delivers. We've seen this one do it before, so I'm not concerned about the layoff. As far as the shipping, a little concerned about the shipping. This is a West Coast horse. Definitely a win contender, though. We want to go down to the 9. My other choice, shipping. You have Larry Vivelli's 29% shipping. This horse is raced all over the place, wins all over the place. Colonial Downs, Saratoga, Indy, Churchill, Keeneland, Woodbine. Shipping shouldn't be a problem for this. The pace is perfect. 9 is going to be really tough to beat. And we'll go to number 11. 11, another one that's always around. On the improve, getting better and better for Fawkes. I believe the winner comes either out of 9 or 11. Those are my top two choices. 3 is my third choice. You exacta players, 11-9, 9-11 over 3-9-11, or use 3 on top. So 11, you're getting 12-1 on. That's the one who I see as a win contender. It's really tough between those 3 to pick one. I'll have to look at it further. But I'm on between 3, 9, and 11 as the winner of this race, and certainly a must-use in multi-race plays. So you wanted some horse racing, talk about a race, handicap a race from start, what goes into the races. Yeah, it took me a little longer than usual because I'm showing the demonstration here, longer than usual as I'm showing the demonstration here. I'm very quick with this stuff when I do it myself. What I talk about here, I'm not talking out loud as I'm handicapping the races. I'm shooting around from screen to screen, gathering these snapshots, and still, it takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to put together a card with selections when I do those live streams. So keep that in mind when you see my selections out there on a daily basis covering the races, and you see those winners going across the screen. Al, how do you come up with these winners? What is this? Can you give us a horse-by-horse breakdown? Well, I did here for the 5th race at Gulfstream Park on Pegasus Cup Day. So Gulfstream Park Turf Sprint Stakes. So that's what goes into a race. And I gave it to you here. So let your horse racing friends know about this. If they want some handicapping tips, the different angles I'm talking about, I look at the time of this video. So I've been talking about this for over an hour. So there's plenty of tips, plenty of things that I'm looking for when I'm coming up with specific horses for a single race. And why? Talked about why, gave you the conclusion, etc. So I want to thank the viewer again for posting that comment and bringing this video, this handicapping a race from start, not even looking at the PPs to fruition here for everybody. Thanks. So, and all of you out there, if you have any comments, leave them down below. They could lead to a show on the topic. I see all the comments, all the emails. I get to them in a timely manner when I can. So, and I get a lot of them. So, yeah, I'm not going to answer in 2 seconds. It's not because I'm not ignoring you. So, have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. Win some races. You could see handicapping is not a rush job. It's, you want to win at the races, you put in the time. You don't just sit there and try and speed through it, Speedy Gonzalez. And you see how I come up with my contenders. Thought goes into this, how I'm already thinking wheels in advance of the plays. Now, remember, the scratches haven't come out yet for this race. That's coming up. So I may have to make adjustments. And when I'm playing the races, I may have to make adjustments again if I'm not getting fair odds. If the body language of the horse doesn't jive, a lot goes into it. I'm not sitting around making these selections, throwing at a dartboard or playing the cat horses or the gray horses or birthdays. Put the work in. You'll enjoy the races more that way. You'll know more about the contenders. You'll get to sit back like you're watching a prize fight or something. You'll remember the horses, compose time, and you'll get to find out if the work you put in, if you're good enough to say at least no, not say no in your heart that you're on the right track. And you get that satisfaction. So have a great day, everybody. Thanks again for watching. If you want notifications of videos like this and more, I have new videos either pre-recorded or live every single day here at All Horse Racing all the time. So hit the subscribe and you'll get early notifications in advance when these shows or videos are coming out. And I get the live picks every single day. It's a top, for selection shows for multiple tracks. So at least want to know what tracks I'm doing and what selections are available. And as you've seen here, why I came up with those selections. So thanks again for watching. Good luck today. Play with your head, not over it. Ice water in the veins, and may the horse be with you.